Caitlin Clark tries to go incognito, calling into a local radio show after the Pacers game last night, being introduced as Caitlin from Downtown. And by the way, the Pacers are undefeated while she's in attendance, and DEJA Kelly gets waived by the Las Vegas Aces. And a last-minute addition, as I was editing this news came out, but I wanted to let you guys know that the WNBA Connecticut Sun hire Allen and Company to explore a sale. So they might be for sale soon. So the Pacers dominated in last night's game against the Cavaliers. Caitlin Clark was in the audience, and I'll talk about this later, but it is kind of weird that when she's in attendance to most games, the teams that she's rooting for wins. I don't know what's going on. She's got like a touch of magic in the air or something. But she does call into a Pacers post-game show, like after the game. She is introduced as Caitlin from Downtown. So fans got a surprising nightcap to the Pacers game. Many, I'm sure, were driving on their way home, listening in a car. Some people just, I guess, turned on the radio. I don't even know if that's even a thing anymore because I heard about this on social media. But the show was on the Pacers radio network, and Herb Simon's son, Steve Simon, was on it. And he kind of like ruined the bit by calling Caitlin Clark out, but let's take a listen. Oh, by the way, do you guys like the borders I designed? I actually made these yesterday because I wanted to just kind of like make it look good whenever I go small and, you know, you guys are watching footage or anything like that. So I hope you like it.
We've never taken a caller from Downtown. It's a big fan of yours, new to the city, been here about a year. I believe the person calling in is from, I think, Iowa, But I think we have Caitlin from Downtown. Caitlin, do you have some thoughts for Mr. Simon and about the game in general tonight?
What a win. I mean, first half was probably the best offensive half I have ever seen in all of basketball. It was fun. Great half.
Now, I got to ask you.
Great game, great win all around.
Well, I understand you've played some basketball and you continue to still play some basketball. Has your teams ever scored 80 points in a half?
Never scored 80 and a half. We'd be lucky to hit 60. So 80 and a half. 80 in a game is pretty good for the most part, but 80 and a half, I was on my feet for that entire second quarter. It was pretty fun.
Mr. Simon, do you have a question for your fan here, Caitlin from Downtown?
I'm just happy to hear great, incredible commentary by our incredible star, Caitlin Clark, one of our great.
He just ruined the bit. He just ruined the bit.
Come on, Steve from Downtown.
It's Caitlin from Downtown.
It's unclear, though. I'll tell you. She sounds like the Caitlin Clark, who is getting ready to open the season on Saturday. Everybody's so excited about that, and we got a lot going for us in Indy with the Pacers and the Fever,
and so we have two teams playing at the same time.
That would be really exciting.
Caitlin from Downtown, I must ask, you once in a while get into a zone, but tonight it looked like the Pacers collectively were in a zone. Have you ever seen anything like that where, especially those last couple minutes of the second quarter, was almost like they were throwing it in the white rib? They weren't missing tonight.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and the Cavs are still playing solid defense. It was just one of those nights where you literally could not miss. It was Aaron, it was Miles, it was Pascal. It was just one to the next, and it was really, really fun to watch. I felt honestly just bad for the Cavs at one point, but man, that was some good basketball.
Yeah, I don't know. These two teams, like the Indiana Fever and the Pacers, I mean, they really have this crazy like crossover bond that, I mean, I don't see it in any other teams, any WNBA to NBA teams. I mean, I know the Valkyries are hoping for that with the Golden State Warriors. I don't know that it's happened yet because, you know, they're a totally new team, but I could see, you know, Steph Curry sporting some Valkyrie stuff. He already has, actually. I don't know if this is like the PR team or it's like completely organic, but they are just doing the best job of making the Indiana Pacers and the Indiana Fever just like synonymous and creating a really nice relationship between the two organizations. They're always like supporting each other on social media. And this post went up. It was a quote from Miles Turner that says, "How many cities can say they've got one of the most exciting teams in the league in men's hoops and women's hoops, and a fan base who keeps the same energy for both of them?" So for me, when I think about why it's so dope, what's happening with the Pacers, It's about more than the Pacers. It's about how Indianapolis, Indiana is the basketball capital right now. We really do this in Indy. The game runs through us. And that is a Miles Turner quote. And it kind of deserves to be mentioned. This is just fun. This is not like real, but it does deserve to be mentioned that they are undefeated with Caitlin Clark in the building. A lot of people are calling it like Kate voodoo, or it's just like this magic dust that she puts in the air. I don't really know. She has this effect on a lot of games that she goes to, but the Pacers in particular, they're now 6-0 with her in the building in the playoffs. I wrote a little fun piece on it today for the Indiana Fever on SI, but I will also just talk a little bit about it here. So they ended up showing Caitlin Clark on the Jumbotron, and there was an ovation from the crowd. And as soon as they showed her on the Jumbotron, the Pacers went on a 10-0 run, and that just did not stop. The shots kept falling for everyone, and it wasn't like the Cavs were playing bad. It's worth mentioning, though, that in the game before, the Pacers were struggling against the Cavaliers, and they lost that game. But by halftime, they were up, I forgot, like 80 to like 39 or something crazy. There's this one guy I see around, Jericho Whiskey, in the social media space, and he mentioned the Indiana Pacers are undefeated in the playoffs when the needle is in attendance. Then there was someone else that says the Kate Voodoo Pacers are the best team of all time. Whether you believe in the superstition or just the fun coincidence of it, with a 6-0 record now, if I was a betting man, I'd put my money on the game that Caitlin Clark went to. And they are advancing in the playoffs, and you know that they wish the WNBA season was not starting, which will be next week. I am so excited when they play the Sky on the 17th, but you know that the Pacers wish that Caitlin Clark could be at all of their playoff games because she is kind of being viewed as a good luck charm for them at this point. Okay, so according to Sportico, the WNBA Connecticut Sun hired an investment bank to explore the sale of the franchise. The move arrives as the WNBA franchise values have exploded. The latest round of W expansion is expected to fetch more than $200 million per franchise. And if you guys aren't aware, a lot of people have been asking the Mohegan Sun tribe, that is who owns the Connecticut Sun, to sell the team because the facilities aren't up to date. There's a lot of like tribal regulations that haven't like enabled them to get facilities, and they were practicing, sharing, practice space with yoga classes. As JJ mentioned in an interview last season in the playoffs, they divided the court, like shared the practice space as in dividing the court with a 2-year-old's birthday party. And currently they practice in the tribal recreation center, like the rec center. So in this offseason, an offseason filled with like a bunch of teams announcing new expansions and new practice facilities, the Mohegan Sun has been under fire for not having that and having pretty much like the worst practice facilities in the league possibly. According to this article, speculation has swirled around whether Mohegan Sun want to keep up with the current WNBA arms race with gaming, concerts, and hospitality, the primary business at the casino resort. The Sun play in the WNBA's smallest media market and host the game in 10,000-seat Mohegan Sun Arena. In 2003, the Native American tribe, the Mohegan tribe, became the first non-NBA owner in WNBA history when the former Orlando Miracles relocated to the then new $40 million Mohegan Sun Arena in Ucasville, Connecticut. The tribe paid $10 million as an expansion fee. Wow, that is wow. Considering that they're going for $200 million now, last year the Sun were valued at $80 million per Sportico's WNBA valuations, which tied for 9th in the WNBA. Franchise values have jumped considerably since then. The Mohegan Tribal Gaming Authority recently faced a potential debt crunch, but last month it completed a comprehensive refinancing, pushed back on a $1.5 billion in debt. Wow. The Sun reached the semifinals. They did. They reached the semifinals against the Indiana Fever with, DeWanna Bonner and Stephanie White, who are now over in Indiana. But they reached these semifinals in the WNBA playoffs last season, which marked the 6th straight season they made it to at least that far. But their entire starting lineup has, what happened to the starting lineup of the Sun? They kind of went everywhere. So yeah, that, it's funny because I would have thought that this would happen, but so many people pushed back against this. I don't exactly know why, but a lot of people were saying that the tribe will never sell. The games were seen by some as a big draw. Like it's something that you can do while you're at the casino, is go to a game. And it was kind of like a hand in hand, like symbiotic relationship that way. But I just think that the backlash against the facilities and, it being in the middle of nowhere and not being able to draw people as just a WNBA draw itself was kind of proving to be a little hard. But I guess we'll see where that goes. Now, I quickly do want to touch on the DEJA Kelly being waived from the Aces situation. Now, DEJA Kelly went undrafted in this recent WNBA draft. They picked her up and she had a great game when the Aces played the Mercury, and she made the game-winning shot, giving Vegas the dub. And not only that, but they did draft Aaliyah Nye in the WNBA draft, which I was actually a little surprised. But because Becky's been there, they don't have a GM, so Becky Hammon, the coach, I'm assuming is making a lot of these decisions about who to draft. And they ended up drafting Aaliyah Nye, which at the time, again, I'll mention that I was a little surprised, but she seems to know what she was doing because Aaliyah Nye in preseason looked great. And, Liz Kitley, she was out last year with injuries. She is she is somebody that a lot of people were looking forward to seeing. She is a pretty dominant force in women's basketball, but she was not able to play her rookie year due to injury, and she is healthy this year, so she is back on the court. Lots of people are excited. So they have 3 really great rookies. The only problem is they do not have the cap space. And what I'm seeing looks to be a very Katie Lou Samuelson-esque situation with Kirsten Bell. And I don't want to get into it too much because Kirsten Bell is a human being. There's been a lot of negativity directed her way because she is on a protected contract, and Kirsten Bell has not really delivered at all since she's entered the WNBA. Now, I can't say that I watched much of Kirsten Bell. I actually didn't watch any of Kirsten Bell in college, but I have heard that she was amazing in college. And Becky brought her to the Aces and she put her on a protected contract. Now, she is not looking good on the court. She has not looked good in any of the preseason games. She barely got any minutes last season, but there are 3 great prospects that they could potentially put on the roster, but they are having to cut one of them and waive one of them to keep Kirsten Bell on the roster, which this is how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Nothing is perfect, but it is just one of those situations that kind of, you wish you could change in hindsight. But I'm telling you, DEJA Kelly turned heads in that Mercury game, but because she was in for 13 minutes, she scored 15 points. She scored the most points. She scored more points than A'ja Wilson. Oh, wow. It looks like A'ja Wilson was a -4 in the court. Her plus minus, what was DEJA Kelly? DEJA Kelly was a +11. I mean, no surprise there. Looks like their starters, Jackie Young was in for 21 minutes. She came away with 10 points. Jewel Lloyd came away with 11. Chelsea Gray came away with 10. They were all in for a similar amount of time. And Kirsten Bell was given 12 minutes on the court, and she did not score 1 bucket. Did she do anything else? She had 1 steal, 2 assists, no rebounds, no blocks. Yeah, well, that's all I will say about Kirsten Bell. Nothing personal. These are just her stats. Aaliyah Nye in this game, she was given a lot of minutes because of her performance in the previous game. She was given 20 minutes, but she scored 5 points. But in the last game, when they played Dallas, she was in for 22 minutes. She scored 17 points. She was a +23 on the court, which is high. So it's a difficult decision to have to waive one of those 3 potentially great players for the roster for, somebody that is on a protected contract. And the sad thing, even though DEJA Kelly, a lot of people thought she was a lock for the roster. They thought she was a lock after Aaliyah Nye, but I think that Becky Hammon just sees having 1 good game isn't necessarily going to lead to the piece that you need for the rest of the season. She might not be the position, she might not bring the talents that she sees that the Las Vegas are going to need for the 2025 season to be dominant. Those are just some of the things that are going on today. I hope you like the new logo. It's okay if you don't, but I'm always looking for ways to improve the channel. So if you have any ideas, let me know. And as usual, I'll see you next time.